We're here at Coriolis Pharma with the Director of Business Development, Matthias Lucker. So lovely to see you. Thanks for joining us today, Matthias.
Thanks for coming over.
So with your focus on CMC services, what is the difference between early phase and late phase when it comes to drug product development?
Right, good question. When we're differentiating between early phase and late phase services, the early phase is mainly driven by kind of gaining speed to having your product with the patients as fast as possible, still kind of maintaining the level of safety for the patients. That means that we have a lot of lab automation, gaining speed, gaining also ideas of how to kind of formulate it in the end. And the late phase is then driven mainly by a lot of kind of manual processes. So you kind of have to do a lot of homework that is kind of rather labor intensive.
And when it comes to late phase development, it's known for its kind of high resource demands and less automation. How do you tackle that challenge with your offerings?
Right. I mean, we are now a lab with more than 200 people, so kind of the demand was growing over the years, also seeing that a lot of more late phase regulatory aspects were coming up. On the other hand, we try to kind of be smart in lab design when we're speaking about wet lab activities. In contrast to kind of the early phase, where we have a lot of lab automation, the late phase kind of still requires a lot of hands in the lab, but whenever it's possible for us, we combine it with smart ideas of using design of experiments or quality by design aspects, like our freeze-drying approach, where we set up a model-based approach, kind of gaining speed also in the late phase, while also keeping up or even gaining regulatory acceptance in the end.
And when we're speaking about lab work and predictive tools, how do you see that balance evolving?
Good question. I mean, everybody's now speaking about AI in our world. That's also within pharma. Also, we are using AI or machine learning tools, especially in the early phases when we predict how the CMC strategy for a drug product should look like. Kind of already having an idea of how the formulation and which parameters we should look on. On the other hand, we still kind of have a lot of wet lab activities. So I think it's not kind of an either or. The kind of challenge now is coming up that you kind of combine it in a most clever way to kind of save resources and gain in the end safety for the patients.
And with your experience, what would you say are the critical success factors when it comes to drug product development?
There are some things to consider. I mean, as I spoke about it earlier, at the beginning, it's kind of a very standardized process. But when it comes to later, a lot of things need to be considered, because if you're changing formulation or packaging, this interacts with your manufacturing later on or with the scalability. So I think having an idea and a holistic view of the whole development journey, the roadmap, so to speak, of how to design a drug product is key in finding the best product for both applicability for the patients, but also manufacturability, therefore keeping the costs lower.
Matthias, thank you very much.
Thank you for coming over.